Hello and welcome to another Mr. Smith history. Today this video is going to be looking at when Hitler became Führer. So Hitler continued to assert his authority over Germany, and this video is going to look at some events that occurred during the period 1934 which led to Hitler declaring himself Führer. So first up, we're going to look at why Ernst Röhm and the SA were a threat to Hitler. Röhm had obviously helped Hitler in the early years of the Nazi Party and was instrumental in helping them become a threat and getting them into power. But now Hitler saw them as a threat. One reason for this was that Röhm didn't like Hitler's policies. He wasn't keen on the way that the party was going. There was a major fear in the army as well. The SA were huge, and the army were really concerned that the SA were going to try and take over and replace them. That was a genuine threat. And a new group had formed, the SS, Hitler's private army, the black shirts. They wanted to consolidate their own power by reducing the power of the SA, thus making themselves more powerful. And of course, the SA themselves were becoming bitter. They were loyal to Röhm. They weren't loyal to Hitler, and they were still unemployed, and they still needed money, and this was causing dissent amongst the ranks. So just a bit of information about the SS. They were set up by Hitler in 1925, and they were to act as Hitler's personal bodyguards. They were intimidating. They wore smart black uniforms. They were initially run by Schreck and then by Himmler, and they would often be seen guarding Hitler throughout the late 1920s into the 1930s. So we know that in 1933 Hitler became Chancellor, but that didn't give him total control over Germany. There was one person senior to Hitler still, and that was President Hindenburg. Now in August 1934 Hindenburg died. Within hours a law concerning the head of state emerged, and the office of Chancellor and the President were merged together to create a new position, that of the Führer, meaning leader. So Hitler now combined the role of the Chancellor and the President to create his new role, the Führer. Now that Hindenburg was dead, Hitler had complete control over the army, and he changed the way that the army operated, and they had to swear an oath of allegiance. But this oath of allegiance was to Hitler, not to Germany as it had been prior. So they were swearing their allegiance to him as their Führer, not to the country that they were fighting for. Hitler didn't take long to act, and then on the 30th of June in 1934 Hitler decided he needed to rid himself of those that were a threat to him, including Röhm and the SA, and this is known as the Night of the Long Knives. He did this by inviting Röhm and around 100 SA leaders to a meeting in the town of Bad Weiss, but it was a ruse, and when the leaders arrived they were arrested by the SS, taken to Munich and then executed. Soon after the arrest, von Pappen's staff were arrested and his home surrounded. Von Papen himself was no longer able to watch what Hitler was up to. Further killings occurred, including that of von Schleicher. Interestingly, it's thought that not a lot of people were aware of the extent of the killings and how many people were actually being killed, and actually a lot of people were quite relieved that the SA were being curtailed and that their power was being reduced. And that brings us to the end of the video about Hitler becoming Führer and the problems that he faced. If you want to watch other videos on the Nazis, there's one on the Reichstag fire which will be popping up in the window there, and there'll be others on their way soon. Thank you for listening.